UFC 291 has the potential of being the best card of the year, and I'm here, the MMA Casual, with your official predictions. So let's get right to it, guys. Our full card, main card, of course, is Kevin Holland versus Michael Chiesa, Tony Ferguson versus Bobby Green, Stephen Thompson versus Michael Pereira, John Blachowicz versus Alex Pereira, and then Dustin Poirier versus Justin Gaethje. And honestly, I saw this card, and on paper it's absolutely phenomenal. This card has a lot of potential. The UFC keeps putting out banger cards. We're coming off of UFC 290, which was absolutely incredible. But let's get right to it. Starting off, we have Kevin Holland versus Michael Chiesa. For me, I think this is a pretty easy pick. Michael Chiesa has been inactive for almost 2 years now. This is an individual who was fighting in the lightweight division, moved up to welterweight, and he's going up against someone in Kevin Holland who's a fantastic striker, a decent grappler, and someone who's extremely active. And I think that's going to be our main point for this fight. And I think that's what's going to give us the biggest difference. Michael Chiesa is very experienced, but I just think that inactivity and that ring rust, which is proven time and time again to be a huge factor inside the octagon, is going to be what changes this matchup. I think the key for Michael Chiesa is definitely going to be his grappling. I think striking with Kevin Holland isn't a great idea. He's taller, he's longer, he's faster, and I think he'll do a lot of damage. With that being said, I don't think we see a finish in this fight. I think Kevin Holland takes it for the distance. I think he's gonna stop a lot of takedown attempts, and I think ultimately he wins in unanimous decision. Moving on, we have Tony Ferguson versus Bobby Green. So I'm super not disappointed, but I'm a little unsure of the odds. So I believe what I saw is that Bobby Green is a negative 400 favorite, which to me is a little bizarre. I'm the first one to say Tony Ferguson has been extremely disappointing. His last 5 fights have been losses. He's been deteriorating. He's had some insane knockout losses. I think he should retire. I think if anybody cares about him, they get him out of the fight game. He's done more than enough in there. He's definitely has some CTE going on, but I do want to say that the competition that he has faced in the last 5 fights is absolutely ridiculous. Let's break it down in no particular order, but we have Beneil Dariush, Michael Chandler, Nate Diaz, Justin Gaethje, and Charles Oliveira. We're talking about the best of the best with respects to Nate Diaz, who is just a good contender per se, but I think the level of competition is completely different than fighting someone like Bobby Green. Bobby Green, on the other hand, don't get me wrong, he has great striking, really flows with his punches, but I think we need to be very careful with a late Tony Ferguson sneaky submission. I think Bobby Green is going to do great work standing. I think if Tony Ferguson tries to go toe-to-toe and kind of doesn't understand the situation he is in physically, I think we're going to see a TKO loss. But to be honest, I think we go the distance. I think Tony Ferguson will do enough to stay alive in this fight, but ultimately I have to side with Bobby Green. Nothing tells me that Tony Ferguson will win this fight other than a little gut feeling that says, hey, this competition's a little different. Let's not count out Tony Ferguson. But it's hard to side with a guy who's taken 5 straight losses, regardless who they were with. Moving on, Stephen Thompson versus Michael Pereira. To be honest with you, I think this fight's going to be a lot of fun. We saw Stephen Thompson against Kevin Holland, and to be honest, I think that's one of the best fights we saw last year. And now coming into this, I feel a little more confident with Stephen Thompson's ability, and I think his experience is what's going to be the key here. Michael Pereira, we've seen time and time again, he gets way too excited in the octagon. He's going to start doing some crazy backflips. This is the wrong person to try that out with. So if Michael Pereira goes in there trying to put on a show with Stephen Thompson, he takes a loss. I might even say he takes a TKO loss. Ultimately, I'm saying this is going to end in decision, and I'm taking Stephen Thompson in unanimous decision, but it all depends on Michael Pereira's approach. If he comes in and he's well coached, if he has some sort of fight IQ, I think this could be a more competitive fight. He needs to take Stephen Thompson to the ground. He needs to absolutely avoid that striking game with him. However, if Michael Pereira decides to make this a stand and bang and let's see who's better at striking, Michael Pereira might see the canvas with his lights out and it might be over for him. But ultimately, I think Stephen Thompson takes it. I'm pretty confident in that. Pereira's cardio has been questionable in the past, but at the end of the day, I don't know if Stephen Thompson will have enough time to expose it in a three round fight. So we'd have to see. But again, I have Stephen Thompson winning in unanimous decision. Next up, and from here on out, it's just masterclass. We have John Blachowicz and Alex Pereira. All of these fights, the competition is very close, but I think it ultimately has to do more with the direction these fighters choose to go in. Some of these fights could go either way, completely based on game plan. And this is a prime example. John Blachowicz versus Alex Pereira. Let me tell you something. Alex Pereira looked great at middleweight. Definitely a hard weight cut for him, but now that he's fighting at light heavyweight, we have to assume he's going to have more power. Maybe a little slower, but he's definitely more comfortable in his body. He's fighting a very complete fighter in Jan Blachowicz, a little bit of age to him. And to be honest, I was very disappointed in his performance against Magomed Ankalaev. Wasn't enough done. So if we see the same Jan Blachowicz in this fight, I think he takes the loss. But let's assume we see a Jan Blachowicz who was champion, the real Polish power, one punch knockout power, very complete fighter who could utilize his grappling. If Jan Blachowicz decides to utilize his grappling against Alex Pereira, I think he sneaks into a unanimous decision win, right? However, I don't think that's the Jan Blachowicz we're going to see. And I think Alex Pereira might have a few opportunities to really shine with his power. And I think a second round TKO is very probable. And I think this is a sleeper pick. And I'm going for the underdog here. I'm taking Alex Pereira to win by TKO in the second round. This is a very close and is very dependent on how Jan Blachowicz looks tomorrow night. However, I think Alex Pereira could catch him. I think he's going to be a lot more powerful. I think he's a lot more comfortable. He's training with Glover Teixeira. They're expecting Jan Blachowicz to want to go in there and take him down. So I think he's going to come in prepared. He's coming off a loss. I think Alex Pereira gets it done tomorrow. Last but not least, the fight of the night, the fight of the year. When they announced this fight, it's just absolutely bananas. You see a name like Justin Gaethje, Dustin Poirier, Michael Chandler, any of these guys, you know these guys are going to go in this and give us a brawl. These guys fought 5 years ago, and it was absolute masterclass. Dustin Poirier was able to get the finish in the 4th round, and to be honest with you, I think we're going to see a similar result. Both of these men have improved significantly since that fight. I've read a few articles that people claim that Justin Gaethje has had more improvements. I disagree. I think Dustin Poirier has proved that he is continuously at an elite level. Has he become champ? Absolutely not. However, he is still performing at a very elite level, and I think it's going to be a problem for Justin Gaethje. At the end of the day, this is a 5-round fight. Is it going into the championship rounds? Who knows? But to be honest, I think ultimately what's going to be the key for Dustin Poirier is how technical he is. Justin Gaethje is willing to go blow for blow, and when the cardio kicks in, he starts sacrificing his defense, good blocking, and he just goes for the haymakers or a really strong leg kick. And ultimately, I think what's going to happen is Dustin Poirier is going to break him apart, slowly pick him apart. But I think Justin Gaethje really needs to dominate again using his leg kicks, and yeah, he needs to find his way inside. If he does that, Justin Gaethje has a very good chance at knocking out Dustin Poirier. Do I think Dustin's going to perform in that way, let him get close? Absolutely not. I think Dustin is going to be able to keep the distance, be very technical. He's going to throw his punches and bunches when he gets those combinations going. And if he's blocking Justin Gaethje's leg kicks, I do not think there is anything that Justin Gaethje could do to Dustin Poirier. And to be honest with you, I don't think this fight ends in TKO, even though it can happen. I actually think that Dustin Poirier sneaks in a late submission. I'm going round 4. A lot of people might disagree with that. They might think it's not what's going to happen. But I think once Justin Gaethje starts dropping his hands a little, he gets a little lazy with his kicks, I think that he's going to get caught. He's going to find himself on the ground. Dustin Poirier is going to capitalize. He's either going to find his back or find some sort of submission, and I think he's ultimately going to get it. I think Dustin Poirier is victorious, but I think it's going to be an absolute war, and I think it's going to be the fight of the night. So what I need from you guys, please subscribe. I'm putting out YouTube videos roughly twice a week. It's going to be nonstop from here. Subscribe, like, share. I appreciate the support. Go check out my TikTok. Go check out my Instagram. I'm telling you, the stuff I'm coming out with is going to be great. I have a few good videos that I'm going to put up right here of reactions to Street Beefs videos. So go show your love and support. I appreciate you guys, and you have a good one.